Well, good morning, everyone. And once again, welcome to another live this morning. Hope you're having a great start to your day. And I'll wait for a moment or two, as usual, to say hello. Eric, you are numero uno today. So welcome to our program. Frida, how are you? Sandra, Aurelia, good morning. Mike from Norland, good morning. Rosa and Jen are Jean and Rosalinda, Niagara Falls. Carrie, Nebraska, I know that automatically. Joan, good morning. Kevin, sunny Oshawa, and it's sunny in Sudbury this morning. Derek, Tecumseh. And John, good morning. And Wendy, good morning. Nick from our staff. Jeanette from our staff. Karen, how are you? Caroline, Newfoundland. Louise, good morning. Brenda, good morning. Grace, Fenwick, Ontario. Wendy from Allison. Fran, Orangeville. Elsie, everybody's saying it's a Biderma day. Mary, Micheline, bonjour. Dave and Anna Peters, good morning to you guys. Andrea, Nouveau Brunswick. Deb, Detroit, Michigan. Leela, Maria Helena, good morning from Toronto. Yalaud, bonjour. Jian, bonjour. Debbie, Carolyn, how are you? In Edmonton, Alberta. Jeanette and Earl. Frances Marie is having her vitamin C. I gotta just mention something because somebody said something. Cindy, Dave, Donna. Donna not in Newfoundland. Okay. Len and Judy, Edmonton. Well represented. Rita in Florida. Jean, Cindy, Milika. You guys, we love you. Donna, Lenora, how are you? Few more. Natalie, good morning. And Amina. Elsie, Jeanette. Alicia, South Carolina. On her birthday. Well, good for you. Barbara, Spring, how are you in California, Riverside? Jean and Gardner or Zin. Which comes first? Lise, Helen, and Nancy. Lou, Ella. Okay. Two more and I'm going. I mean it. Karen, how are you? Morgan. Okay. Well, okay. And Joe, good morning. Now, what we're going to do this morning, I'm going to talk to you about a study that came out on red meat, okay? And I think it's important we go over this because I want you to know where I come from as if you don't. But I'm going to double down today, okay? I'm going to double down, but I need to just talk to you about the study. Now, what I didn't answer yesterday, and I saw it afterwards when I went to the podcast yesterday, and I talked about vitamin C, ascorbic acid, okay? Now, and a couple of people, you guys are so smart, you question. I don't want you to take everything I say at face value. I want you to think. I want you to question. And you guys are smart. So what happened after the program yesterday? Some of you said, well, Dr. Martin, you got vitamin C in your blood boost. As a matter of fact, we have vitamin C in our Navital. Okay? Now, I didn't get into all the details, but I'm glad you asked those questions. Or you didn't even ask the question, you just made a statement. And probably going, why do you downplay the effectiveness of vitamin C, the other one, ascorbic acid, and then you have it in a couple of your products? Well, okay, that's a very good question, and it is, let me answer it. First of all, what I like about vitamin C, okay, is not ascorbic acid per se. In our vitamin C, and that's how you label it, but it's the acerola cherry. Now, the reason we use acerola cherry, okay, which contains vitamin C, acerola cherry, I've always liked it because cherries are good for you. Okay? They are. Yeah, they have vitamin C, but they do other things. They help lower your uric acid. Okay? And acerola cherry is much more what we call bioavailable. So that's what I use. Okay? Now, we label it as vitamin C, but it really is much more than that. So if you're just using ascorbic acid, you know, and you can get buffered C, and you can get this kind of C and that kind of C. But guys, I'm telling you, it's overrated in my opinion. Now, doesn't mean it's no good. Doesn't mean you don't need it, okay? Because you don't make vitamin C. Animals make vitamin C. You don't. You have to get it. But what I was saying yesterday was that you're better to get a complex. That's why I literally, and people think I'm crazy when I say it, but I literally mean it when I talk about coffee. Coffee has all the polyphenols. If you were to drink coffee, you're not going to get scurvy. And I told you yesterday that, you know, meat cures scurvy. It does. It does. So look, again, you know, like, it's not that I like a very bioavailable polyphenols, okay, which your body breaks down and keeps. Because I was telling you yesterday, one of the problems with vitamin C, structurally, it looks like sugar, by the way. And your body has a hard time keeping it. And I can tell you therapeutically, okay, and I didn't even mention this yesterday, therapeutically, where I find vitamin C worked is when you did it intravenously in high doses. The problem, you can't take it orally in that kind of dose because you're going to get diarrhea. Your stomach is going to be, you're going to get digestive issues with a high dose. But if you do it intravenously, vitamin C, I got no problem with that. I got no problem with that. We used to work with an oncologist in Toronto, and he loved vitamin C intravenously. And I remember him, I'm quoting him, okay, who passed away many, many years ago. But he was an oncologist that loved doing intravenous, you know, what he called his natural chemotherapy. And part of it, he used hyaluronic acid, and he liked high doses of vitamin C. And I'm quoting him, unless you use high doses, I mean really high doses of vitamin C intravenously, he says it doesn't work. And I'm just quoting him, an oncologist who liked natural chemotherapy. And guys, I bring you back to the 1990s when we worked with him. Boy, he was a smart guy. Anyway, okay, so I'm glad you asked those questions. I want you to think, and I want you to question what I'm going to say. Now you're going to, well, maybe you'll question this. Okay. And I call it the motorcycle gang theory. Okay. So let's just talk about red meat. And I call it the motorcycle gang theory. Okay. Now, what do I mean by that? Whenever I mean it, guys. A new study out, and it said, red meat will shorten your life. Okay? So I read, that was the headline, and then I read the article. Red meat shortens your life. Well, hello, I'm sorry, it don't. And when I read the study that they were quoting, red meat shortens your life, I call it the motorcycle gang theory, okay? So let me explain what I mean by that. Do you know that guys that go in a motorcycle gang, they die young, generally, okay? They die young. And let's say, and it's probably true, if you're riding in a motorcycle gang, you probably love red meat. You're a real carnivore, okay? And therefore, when you die young and you drive a motorcycle in a motorcycle gang, red meat will kill you. See, that's an observational study. Okay? We're observing. Motorcycle gang members die young, and they like red meat. Therefore, our observation is it's the red meat. But what they didn't talk to you about, and I'm telling you, this is every red meat study. Okay? They look at it and they forget that in the motorcycle gang, 90-something% of them smoke. 100% of them drink hard. They drink a lot of alcohol. They live rough. But it's the red meat that kills them. That's observational. And guys, and this is just general. Let me just give you a general statement. Men love red meat more than women do. Okay? That's true. Therefore, when men die younger than women, must be the red meat. Okay? Must be the red meat. And if you already have a preconceived idea that red meat is bad for you, it's amazing what you can do to make studies answer that question. Oh, of course red meat's bad for you. But what I tell people is this. Look, I've been around a long time. And here's just a general fact. Do you know that red meat consumption is down 40% from the 1970s? Not gone up. It's gone down. Why? Because of the indoctrination by the cereal companies. Don't you dare eat red meat. You better have they changed our breakfast. True or false? They sure did. They did. I watched it happen before my very eyeballs. In the late 60s, 1970s, Listen, eat cereal and don't eat bacon and eggs because that will give you cholesterol. True or false? It's exactly what happened. Don't eat butter. It's no good for you. Eat margarine because there's no fat. There's no saturated fat in margarine. There's saturated fat in red meat. So what did they do? They pushed it and pushed it and pushed it and pushed it. And you saw, starting with my parents' generation, got to them and got to us, my generation, and they continued on going after my children's generation, and it's even worse now with my grandchildren's generation. Meat is bad for you. They say it, they say it, they say it. And it's like a religion. You don't even want me to get into Dr. Kellogg's. Study his life. He was a vegan. And, you know, he literally helped change the nutritional status of the world. Because he was bought and paid for vegan. But that didn't make it science. It was always these correlation studies. Like I call it the motorcycle gang theory. You know, never mind their hard living, never mind their smoking, never mind their hard drinking. Oh, but they eat red meat, and therefore red meat is bad for you. I'm telling you, guys. I'm telling you. And you know, so when it comes to cancer, they'll tell you that red meat causes cancer. I'm telling you, that's the farthest thing from the truth. Red meat don't cause cancer. Cancer hates. This is a Martin Clinic statement. Cancer hates red meat. Can't feed on it. Cancer doesn't feed on red meat. Cancer needs sugar. It needs sugar. And there's very few people that would deny that. If you understand how cancer grows, it needs fuel. I've used the illustration with you. They're like ravenous, cancer cells are like ravenous teenagers. Hey, you just ate an hour ago. How come you're hungry again? Well, that's a cancer cell. And they're not looking for steak. They're looking for sugar. And so when you see these studies, men get more cancer, certain kind of cancers like colon cancer more than women do. Therefore, men like red meat more than women do, and therefore it's the red meat. No. It's sugar. Honey. Okay? When you eat too much, I'm going to give you more. When you eat too much meat, hard on your kidneys. I'm not kidding you guys. I'm not kidding you. Every week, I get asked the question. Mainly because doctors will tell their patients, and look, you might as well go to your plumber before asking your doctor about nutrition, unless they've been trained in nutrition, because it's not part of medical school curriculum. They know nothing. I mean, literally, they know nothing about nutrition. They can hardly name you the 3 macros: protein, fat, and carbs. It's just not their area of expertise. But doctors will tell you, well, you don't want to have too much protein, because protein will destroy your kidneys. I'm sorry. Protein doesn't destroy your kidneys. Sugar destroys your kidneys. Okay? Don't blame protein for what sugar is doing. Sugar destroys kidneys. Ask a diabetic. All these new dialysis centers all over North America to try and restore kidney function. Well, they don't even try and restore it. They just want to keep people alive. And when you get to dialysis, your kidneys are not working. And so what do? They put you on a machine that filters out your toxins. Otherwise, you're going to become toxic. You're going to die. You need your kidneys to survive. But don't you eat too much meat, because that will destroy your kidneys. That's protein, and protein is so bad for your kidneys. Who told you that? Well, doc, I had protein in the urine. Yeah? So? Well, doesn't it come, if it makes sense to me, if I eat a lot of protein, I'm going to have elevated protein in my urine, and that's a sign my kidneys are not working properly. And no, it don't work like that. As a matter of fact, if you insist on being a carboholic, you're going to elevate your protein excretion in your urine. It's the carbs. It's the crappy sugar. Kidneys hate sugar. So, but you see, if you have an agenda to prove your point that meat, and especially red meat, is vilified. They don't go after chicken too much. A little bit, but they can tolerate it. But that red meat, it's bad for your kidneys. It's bad for heart disease. Red meat and heart disease, it's gonna elevate your cholesterol. Well, goody gumdrops. You want to elevate your cholesterol. You don't die from cholesterol. You die from a lack of it. 85% of your cholesterol is made inside your body. Because your body's smarter than most people are. A lot smarter. It knows. Has to make cholesterol because you can't live without it. From every cell in your body needs cholesterol. Your brain needs cholesterol. Your blood vessels need cholesterol. Oh, and LDL, Dr. Martin, my LDL. Oh, I get a splitting headache talking about LDL. If it's at the crime scene, doesn't mean it's a bad guy. LDL usually is a big part of your immune system. At the first sign of infection, LDL helps. It's like a fireman. You don't blame the firemen because they're at the fire. They didn't cause the fire. They're there to put it out. You don't blame the police because they're at a crime scene. Of course they're at a crime scene. They're there to, well, hopefully to stop it first. Cholesterol has been vilified. I've given you the history time and time and time again. And red meat has cholesterol. Yippee. You want cholesterol. You want to die young? I got low LDL. Yay, give me high fives. I got my LDL down. I got my cholesterol down. Give me high fives. I'm doing so well. No, you're not. No, you're not. There was a class of medications. You want to know how marketing works? If you had to take marketing 101, okay, let's say you're going into marketing. I want to learn marketing. If you want to learn from the best, you would read the story of the pharmaceutical companies coming out with statin drugs. Read the history of it. It is more than fascinating. It should be taught in any course on marketing. What did they do? They literally had to make up a problem. Now remember, like I've been telling you, red meat, don't you eat bacon, don't you eat steak, it ain't no good for you. And then, I told you about the greatest serial killer in the history of the world, Ansel Keys, who brought out the theory of cholesterol causing heart disease. He wasn't right in the beginning, and he was never right. But it didn't matter. It took fire, and it gained a life of its own, and they kept going and going. And then the pharmaceutical companies go, I wonder how we can get in on the action of this cholesterol. Let's lower cholesterol. Well, they developed a drug. The number one selling drug of all time, Lipitor. And they made it into the gigantic marketing gurus of all time. They convinced everybody, every cardiologist that I've ever met was bombarded. You need to get cholesterol down. And we have a drug that gets cholesterol down, especially LDL. Now, when I was in school in the 1970s, LDL, so what? What's that mean? Of course we have LDL. We have HDL, we have LDL. They're lipoproteins. They're carriers. They carry. You can't have any hormones properly without carriers of your hormones. I've taught you how many times what HDL does, why I'm so interested in your HDL number. Because it hitches its wagon to those banned triglycerides. So they don't have a medication for HDL, nor do they have a medication for triglycerides. But they got a medication to hammer down cholesterol, LDL. What is the significance of that? To be honest, let's be honest. Heart disease is worse than ever. Folks, if cholesterol was at the root of heart disease, we'd be all cured. We would never have to worry about it, because statin drugs would have solved the problem. But they didn't even put a dent in the problem. And I make the argument that it made it worse, because it was a distraction. A distraction. And everybody went for it. Everybody in my parents' generation. I better not eat any more cholesterol. I had patients bragging to me, well, doc, I only have 1 or 2 eggs a week. That's what my doctor told me to eat. I can have 1 or 2. I said, at every meal? No, a week. What? Why don't you have 2 eggs at every meal? Well, my doc, my cholesterol, I'm going to have a heart attack on the spot. No, you're not. No, you're not. The motorcycle gang theory. These studies, they drive me crazy. So heart disease, cancer. Doc, okay. What about, you can't live without fiber. Ooh. Okay? And the new thing in fiber now, okay, is what we call FOS, fructooligosaccharides, okay? Prebiotics, and this is why you need lots of fiber. You got to have your fiber, because if you don't, well, not only for cholesterol, but for your good bacteria to live, they need that fiber. Brought to you by Kellogg's and Quaker Oats. Ooh. Somebody asked me the question a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if you remember this, but Doc, what about, I never even pronounce it right, butyrate? Okay? It's a byproduct that is very good for your microbiome. Yeah, well, when you eat steak, you get one of its byproducts is butyrate. You don't need fiber to make butyrate. You get it with steak. It'll feed your good bacteria. It'll feed your microbiome. I'll tell you what destroys your microbiome. Sugar does. And those stinking vegetable oil, they call vegetable oils, in the middle aisles of your grocery store and at your fast food restaurants when they cook those chicken McNuggets in and the French fries. You want to destroy your microbiome? Eat that crap. No, but like it's, and here's another one, okay? Here's another. Gout, Dr. Martin, gout. I get gout. Well, I always, and hey, I've been consistent, okay? I've been so consistent about this. Okay? Now, gout. Okay? Uric acid. For people that don't get rid of it, they can get gout. Like, uric acid is much more complex than people think it is. It's not just gout. But they all red meat and gout. Red meat and gout. I go, yeah, no. It was called the king's disease. And only the elite. You know, it's been around for thousands of years. Many historians, you know, they talked about people that had all this in common, like Alexander the Great and Henry VIII, okay? Henry VIII, I am. Henry VIII, I am. You remember that song? He had gout. A lot of famous people had gout. But guys, here's the problem with it. It wasn't the red meat. Oh, Dr. Martin, it's the purines. No. It's them drinking beer and alcohol and fructose, the wine. That was the king's disease. It wasn't the red meat. You're blaming red meat. Nah. Anyway. I didn't think I was going to get excited today. But I did. You guys are great, you know. We appreciate you very, very much. You know that, I hope. Okay, this week will be a shortened week because of Good Friday coming, okay? And so Friday we won't be on. We will be on Easter Monday, okay? Just to let you know, okay? Because some people ask me that. We'll be on Monday of next week, but this week we're going to have question and answer Thursday again. That'll be 2 weeks in a row. Don't get used to it. Okay? Now, if you're not a member of the private Facebook group, please join us. Join our crew. Join our wonderful folks there. Okay? I encourage people to do it, especially if you're going to start the reset. And you know what? Maybe tomorrow, I don't know. I want to do an 80-20 program, and I'll tell you all about it just before I do it. Okay? But I encourage people to get into the private Facebook group because it's encouraging. I read a little post there this morning that they were on day 1 of reset, and they said, Doc, I gained weight on the first day. Well, hold on. You got 29 days left. Like, don't base everything on day 1. Oh, I didn't feel so good. Yeah, well, you know, you didn't maybe never realized it, but you were probably a carboholic. And now you're changing fuels and your body is going, what are you doing to me? Who are you? I don't recognize you. It's a drastic change. And sometimes in the first couple of days, there's a big change when you change fuels. Trust me, your body will be thrilled. Your body will be thrilled. Ask the tens of thousands of people who did it with great success. And you'll read about it there. I don't know if we have a page just for testimonies. We ought to. Unreal. Okay. So, if you're not a member of the... Now, we put out an email this morning. Did you see it? If you don't get that email, first of all, check your spam, because sometimes it gets sent in there and you don't even realize it. But you'll love our emails. If you're not getting them, sign up. martinclinic.com to sign up for the emails. Okay? Well, we love sending out information to you. We're an information people. I want to keep you informed. And we try and make it simple so that you can read it and understand it. I'm a simple person. Keep it simple, stupid. That's me. That's my motto. KISS. Okay. We love you guys. We'll talk to you soon.